Welcome back to the channel, besties. Today is Tuesday, an absolutely beautiful day to dive into some absolute madness, and I am so glad you are here with me. Grab your iced coffees, settle in, and let's get straight into the chaos because we have a mountain of drama to unpack today. My jaw is literally on the floor right now. Besties, we need to hold a literal intervention right now. I am sitting here in my bedroom at 3 a.m. My eyes are completely bloodshot from watching this latest drop on repeat, and I am officially spiraling out of control. If I do not get this out of my system and trauma dump this entire unhinged experience onto you guys, I am going to spontaneously combust. Hot take. But I am actually ascending into another dimension because the writers just dropped the most nuclear, reality-shattering bombshell in the history of Genoa City, and I am not okay. We are talking about the Abbott family. We are talking about Kyle Abbott. We are talking about the ultimate manipulator, Diane Jenkins. And most importantly, we are talking about the one and only legendary chaotic queen herself, Patty Williams. Kyle was just told that Patty, yes, the deeply traumatized, historically unstable Patty Williams is his actual biological mother, not Diane. I am literally screaming into the mic right now. Then let's just paint the vivid cinematic picture of how this absolute fever dream of a moment went down, because the execution of this scene deserves an Emmy, a Grammy, and a Pulitzer Prize all rolled into one. Kyle is just standing there, probably obsessing over his usual Jabbo corporate spreadsheets or whatever boring nepotism drama he has going on this week, when suddenly the entire atmosphere of the room shifts. The temperature drops. You can practically hear the psychological thriller music swelling in the background, vibrating through the screen. And in walks Patty, not a hallucination, not a ghost, but the living, breathing, profoundly intense Patty Williams. She looks him dead in the eyes, and with that eerie, unsettling calmness that only Patty can deliver, she drops the absolute mother of all bombs. She doesn't stutter. She doesn't hesitate. She just completely dismantles Kyle's entire existence in one single breath. She tells him that Diane is a complete fraud, a surrogate at best, and that the golden Abbott heir standing before her is actually her own flesh and blood. Totally, we have to talk about Kyle's face in that exact agonizing millisecond. You guys, his brain basically became a buffering wheel on a dial-up connection. You could see the exact moment his soul left his body, floated up to the ceiling, and refused to come back down. Kyle's entire identity, his whole "I must protect my mother Diane at all costs" superiority complex, was just shattered into a million little microscopic pieces. He has spent years defending Diane. He alienated his own wife. He went to war with Phyllis. He fought his own flesh and blood, all because he truly believed he was the sacred, untouchable child of Diane Jenkins. And now he finds out his mother is the woman who famously shot his father, Jack Abbott, and spent decades in and out of psychiatric facilities. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a chainsaw. I am literally shaking just thinking about the psychological damage this is going to inflict on this man. He is low-key going to need a lifetime of intensive therapy, no cap. Yet, let's pivot to the real villain of this story, Diane Jenkins. Besties, Diane has spent the last 2 years clawing her way back from the dead, manipulating every single person in Genoa City and using Kyle as her ultimate human shield. Kyle was her anchor. Kyle was her absolute trump card to get back into Jack's bed and secure her place in the Abbott mansion. If Kyle is not her biological son, Diane has absolutely nothing. She is completely stripped of her power, her leverage, and her status. The panic that must be setting in for Diane right now is giving me life. I am low-key thriving on her impending downfall. Imagine the sheer terror when she realizes that Patty Williams, the woman Jack actually loved way back in the day before everything went tragically wrong, is the true mother of the Abbott heir. Diane is going to spiral so hard she might actually dig her own grave again and jump right back in. Mainly, we need to do a massive deep dive into the historical lore here, because the day one stands know exactly how deep this trauma goes. Jack Abbott and Patty Williams were the original tragic soap opera couple. Jack treated her horribly. He gaslit her. He cheated on her with Diane. The absolute audacity of this man. And it literally drove Patty to the brink of total insanity. She shot him. She lost his baby. The trauma that Patty endured at the hands of the Abbott family is legendary and foundational to the show's history. So, for the writers to circle back decades later and reveal that Patty somehow managed to secure her bloodline with Jack, it is pure, unadulterated poetic justice. It is a mastermind level of revenge that I didn't even know I needed. I don't even know how she pulled it off, but my brain is running a marathon right now. Maybe she infiltrated the fertility clinic back in the 90s. Maybe she bribed a shady lab technician to swap Diane's eggs with her own. In Soapland, all you need is a morally corrupt doctor, a cooler full of dry ice, and a trench coat to rewrite an entire family's history. Is it just me, or did they completely fumble the bag on this one by not showing us a flashback right this second? No, wait, actually, they didn't fumble. They are building the suspense, and it is literally tearing me apart in the best way possible. Oh my God, remember when Patty came back to town disguised as Mary Jane Benson? She had that creepy stuffed cat, Mr. Kitty, and she was feeding people poisoned meat out of her designer purse? She terrorized the entire town. She left a dead cat on Summer's bed. She was completely unhinged. She was giving us pure, unfiltered camp, and we ate every single crumb of it up. I remember watching that storyline in my room and literally screaming at my television because nobody could figure out who this chaotic woman was. Wait, I'm literally yapping right now. Let's get back to the actual tea. The point is, Patty Williams is capable of absolutely anything. If anyone could pull off a decades-long biological heist right under Diane's surgically enhanced nose, it is her. And honestly, I think Patty might just be lying to manipulate Kyle because she hates Diane with a burning passion. But actually, no, wait. Look at the way they framed the shot. The cinematic lighting, the dramatic slow zoom, the absolute unwavering certainty in her eyes. The writers wouldn't drop a bomb this massive, this foundational, just for it to be a cheap fake out. Oh my God, it has to be true. It has to be true. The DNA test is going to come back positive, and Genoa City is going to literally explode into a million pieces. I am pacing around my room right now, knocking things off my desk. I cannot handle this level of narrative stress. Can we please talk about how the rest of the Abbott family is going to react to this absolute catastrophe? Jack Abbott is going to have a literal medical heart attack. He has spent years trying to erase Patty from his conscience, dealing with the heavy, suffocating guilt of how he destroyed her life and pushed her over the edge. Now, he has to look at his golden boy, his pride and joy, the future of Jabbo, and see the eyes of the woman he drove to madness. The psychological warfare happening in Jack's brain right now must be deafening. And Ashley? Oh, sweet, vindictive Ashley Abbott. Ashley is going to throw the biggest, most extravagant party Jabot Cosmetics has ever seen. She has been looking for a legitimate, bulletproof reason to kick Diane out of the company and the family for years. Ashley is going to pop vintage champagne, hire a literal marching band, and personally escort Diane out of the Abbott mansion by her hair. The family dinners are going to be absolute bloodbaths. I am so here for it. I want front row seats to the Abbott family implosion. We also have to factor in Phyllis Summers. Phyllis is going to ascend to a higher plane of existence. She has been screaming from the rooftops, sounding the alarms for years that Diane is a fraud, a liar, and a manipulator. Imagine Phyllis finding out that Diane doesn't even have a biological tie to the Abbott fortune. Phyllis is going to print out the DNA results, frame them in solid gold, and hang them in the lobby of the Grand Phoenix. It is the ultimate vindication for our fiery red-headed queen, and I know she is going to rub it in Diane's face until the end of time. But seriously, what does Kyle do now? He has to reevaluate his entire existence from the ground up. Does he embrace Patty? How do you even begin to build a relationship with a mother who is a legendary local menace with a rap sheet longer than a CVS receipt? And what about little Harrison? How do you explain to a small child that his beloved grandmother is suddenly someone completely different, someone who might occasionally talk to taxidermy animals and plot revenge in the shadows? Kyle is going to have a total catastrophic identity crisis. He might just snap, go full villain era, put on a dark suit, and burn Jabot Cosmetics to the ground. Honestly, I would fully support it. Give us Dark Kyle. Let him unleash all that repressed trauma and tear the city apart. Besties, this is the exact kind of high-stakes, unhinged storytelling that keeps us hooked to this franchise. It's messy, it's chaotic, it requires a literal PhD in soap opera history to fully understand the nuances of the trauma, and it is absolutely, undeniably brilliant. I need to know your thoughts immediately. Hit the comments, blow up my notifications, and tell me if you are as devastated, hyped, and confused as I am, because I cannot carry this heavy emotional burden alone. I am going to go rewatch the scene for the 48th time, probably cry into my pillow, and wait for the next episode to completely ruin my life. Stay messy, Genoa City, and don't ever change.
Thank you for watching my video. I will be updating regularly with the latest news, so please remember to subscribe to my channel to support me.